Hey, what up? This is Brandon Simmons for brandonsimmons.biz. This is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, the Texans are fresh off their bye week, smelling good, smelling ready for football and all them other good soliloquies and all that stuff. But they are going to begin the rest of their season with a very tough AFC matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. That's right. Houston Texans are going on the road to take on the Baltimore Ravens in a game that's probably going to determine a lot of playoff positioning, a lot of playoff movement in the next coming weeks. So, guaranteed to be a good game, very huge game, obviously, for this squad. As if we win, we might be able to lock down the number 2 seed, get that first round bye action. You know what I'm saying? So, before we get into all that and the obvious matchup that everybody's excited about, let's just kind of refresh a little bit over the last game that they played. So, Texans, week 9, went to London, of all places. Actually, London, the Jacksonville Jaguars' second home, to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, they beat them pretty sound. A lot of improvement from the last game that they had with Jacksonville, which was in week 2. If you remember, that game was like a 13-12 win. Texans almost lost it on, Gardner Minshew's debut, who, almost kind of came back and just took the game away from him. However, that was obviously not the case in this last game. Texans winning convincingly, 26-3. Very good game all around, solid, efficient game. Deshaun Watson, 201 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 sack. They also had a couple of great plays. Had one he tossed to Darren Fells for a touchdown. There was another play where I guess he was falling down, about to be sacked, and he eluded that by dumping it to Carlos Hyde, and Carlos Hyde ran for a first down. So, pretty good game on there overall. And speaking of Hyde, he ran for like 160 yards in that game. In fact, great game for our running backs overall. Duke Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, he was our leading receiver, I believe. Yes, leading receiver, 5 catches for 68 yards. So, very good controlled game and everything for both our running backs. Very great game for our offense as far as like controlling the clock, eating up the yards, and just straight up dominating. One thing, as I'm looking on this note sheet that I took, still kind of having issues with the kicking game. Van Ran's missing, field goals, extra points are getting blocked. So that's going to be a huge issue coming down into the final stretch of the season. So we definitely need to get that corrected. So just moving on from that, the Texans also picked up a new cornerback. Surprise, surprise. Vernon Hargreaves. Hope I'm saying it right the first time. Hargreaves. Yeah, I try to look at a little bit of little bit of tape or YouTube on him. I didn't really see, like, I don't think I saw enough in-game stuff. I think a lot of the highlights that we're looking at just pretty much preseason stuff. But, just looking back on his stats, he had a great rookie year. But years after that, just not so much. Fourth year guy, actually. And this particular year, yeah, it's just kind of quiet for him. I think one game he had like 11 tackles in that particular game. There's other games we had like 5 tackles, 4 tackles here and there. So definitely just another body that we can definitely use. As injuries start to pile up towards the end of the year. So definitely looking forward to seeing what he can do for us within this secondary, and how he can, just kind of add some depth to that. So, gonna go on to the main note slash topic I got, and it's also, it's a news item slash tied to keys to the game type deal. So, obviously this week, everybody knows that Texans are going to be playing the Ravens. Going to be a huge game. One of the things that a lot of people have just kind of been bragging about or just looking forward to is the matchup between Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. So this is going to be a pretty big deal coming into this weekend, because there's just a couple of things, and there's just a couple of things I just want to kind of put around this particular matchup of itself. So one of the things is, right off the bat, this is like the future of quarterbacking. Right here, for years we've always had like the mobile. I mean, not serious. We've always had like the standard pocket passing type of quarterback. So we've had the Brady's, we've had the Mannings, but these days with rules like kind of just changing in favor of the quarterback to protect them as much as they can at all costs. Defensive linemen, they're getting, a little bit stronger. They're not so much stronger, but yes, stronger. But what I'm trying to say is they're getting faster. Definitely, defensive linemen are getting faster. They're looking like running backs now. So, for a whole decade, it's guys that's been there's been linebackers that's not been drafted to really be linebackers, but just become pass rushers and interchange out as defensive ends, i.e. Jadeveon Clowney. You know what I'm saying? Um, so with that being said, quarterbacks, they got to change it up. So this right here, Watson, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, we know what they bring to the skill set, and we've seen it in college. These have been mobile guys, that have been able to throw on the run and able to, throw out of the pocket sometimes. So, the big thing about them is that they have that extra skill set of just being able to move out of the pocket and either throw the ball out of the pocket or just run down the field right through your defense. With Watson, we've seen him do it before in his rookie year, and quite a few times throughout the rest of his career. If anybody can remember the very first start that Watson had, he had like a 49-yard touchdown run all through the Cincinnati Bengals defense. So he's still capable of doing that. Even this year in the season opener, he had in the season opener against the Saints, he ran the ball into the end for a touchdown, which kind of caused a back injury for him. So yeah, he's probably not going to be as keen to run just to protect himself from injuries. And given the situation with our O line, that's probably really, really smart for him. But he still has that ability, or he still has that in the tuck. Lamar Jackson, he definitely can run, as you can see in like just a lot of the games that he's played this year. Hell, speaking of the 49-yard run that Watson did, he did a 47-yard run, I believe, against the Cincinnati Bengals last Sunday. So pretty much you see these guys, they're just like they're getting drafted. It used to be, guys like Watson and Jackson, they get drafted third, fourth round. And you know what? You could say, yeah, black quarterbacks as well. Definitely. That's always been the thing about black quarterbacks. They've always had, the stigma that they would run first or whatever. But now, black quarterbacks have definitely developed. As you could say, you look at a guy like Pat Mahomes, you look at a guy like Dak Prescott, you look at a Russell Wilson, especially a Russell Wilson, like he's definitely able to turn the jets on or whatever to, run down the field, make some plays, but he's also able to just able to throw the ball down the field as well. I think at this moment, Wilson might be in the lead, and he might lead the league right now in touchdown passes. If not, he's definitely right along top three or top two at least. So it's just something that it's just something that's been been coming along for like over the years, and so now we're finally getting to see that at the forefront with Watson and Jackson. Both of these guys that the future of quarterbacking right now. Watson in his third year, Jackson in his second year, so they got at least another 10, 15 years probably. To just amaze audiences and terrorize their division going on with that. So, but moving on to the next point about them, and it's probably a couple things I kind of maybe delved into a little bit when talking about them, but they do represent, to me, they represent a philosophy of sorts. So when talking about black quarterbacks, they've always had the stigma about like run first, but there's always been black quarterbacks that were able to pass. So Randall Cunningham, he led one of the he led one of the best offenses in NFL history with the Minnesota Vikings back in '98. You know what I'm saying? And he had Randy Moss, Chris Carter at his side. Michael Vick, he was definitely a run first, one of the more earlier versions of a run first quarterback that kind of just I would say just kind of like really just got a lot of accolades and attention or whatever, but he definitely was also known for his arm whenever he used it. So to me, I feel like with the black quarterbacks, or just with these more mobile quarterbacks, it all depends on like how you want to use them. So do you want to go with the guy that's pretty much a mobile type but also has the arm, or do you want to kind of build your offense around a guy that's primarily his most dangerous weapon is his feet, is using his feet, just being able to like either run the option or what I'm saying, just run it in on his own and stuff, and just keep your defense guessing and trying to keep up with the speed. So there are two philosophies that still delve within those two quarterbacks. Whether it's just mixing the throwing with the mobility, or just kind of using the mobility, as a weapon, and in a sense, still trying to protect your quarterback. So that's what I have for that one. The last thing about this matchup, you can't forget about the playoff implications that's set up for this matchup. Like this is pretty big, man. Like I said, right now Baltimore is sitting at the 2 seed, and Texans is sitting at the 3 seed. So, if the Texans win this game, they'll definitely tie up with Baltimore. It'll definitely be something where they can kind of get a leg up on the division above the Indianapolis Colts, because despite the Colts not having Andrew Luck, I mean they're still playing great football, and they've already got a win over us earlier in this year, and we got a showdown with them next Thursday, I believe. So, yeah. So it's gonna be a very important game for the Texans to win on the road, and just being able to make sure that they can just go in and just handle business and get that going. So win would definitely mean possible chance at the 2 seed in the first round bye. Also, is gonna kind of just give them a little bit more ground room for winning this division, which is kind of heating up in this last month and a half going forward for the season. So with that being said, to do all that, they just gotta go in there and win. And so with that being said, man, there's just a couple of things that they need to do to beat the Baltimore Ravens this Sunday, and it's not going to be an easy task at all. Like, this is a good Baltimore Ravens team, man. Like, these guys are amazing. Like you see them and you think like there's no way in hell somebody could be running the ball like this and just really be leading the offense, or leading the league, or be near the top of the league in offense the way these guys are. And so when you watch the games, it's like, yeah, they're doing it big time, man. I've seen them play. I've seen the Patriots game, and it's just crazy. Like just knowing how good the Patriots have been, and yeah, Patriots might have played like a bunch of garbage teams this season, but their defense, is still pretty good. So, but just seeing how that defense reacted or was just being dealt with the against the Ravens. It was just one of the craziest things to see. It's like, this guy's gonna run, and here he is running through the defense. So Texans, they're gonna have their hands full. So with that being said, a couple of things that they need to do, and this is where they need to start at. They need to attack the secondary. Um, the Baltimore Ravens secondary, man. They're like 20th ranked in the league right now. And what's even more crazy about that is they're the seventh worst in giving up plays over 40 yards. So, that's pretty wild when you think about it. You're like, the seventh worst? And you think about like just how, you think about Baltimore defense, and you feel like, well, they gotta be, stout. They got, this running game over here, but the defense gotta be backing them up. But I mean, for the secondary, man, hence why they probably had to go out and trade for Marcus Peters. So I would say definitely let's attack the secondary first and foremost. Um, let's get our point. We attack the secondary. We get our points in as many as we can. We don't leave anything on the table. Let's go in there and let's do some work. We've been doing really good in the red zone this season as compared to last season. So I would definitely say, let's get this work in. When I was looking at the stats just now, I saw that Andre Hopkins was kind of under the hundreds for his catches. I think he had like 48 yards last game. So let's see if we can up those numbers up. I didn't check to see if Will Fuller was coming back, whether or not he's coming back this week. Kenny Still should be good to go, and so I'm really looking to see like him really just stepping up in this particular game. The reason being for that is, like I said, they went out and got Marcus Peters, and Marcus Peters has been showing up on a couple of highlight reels these last couple of weeks. So I would definitely say whatever receiver that he's over, Watson will have to find the other receiver more than likely, just to like kind of protect the ball and make sure we don't turn it over or anything, because he is a ball hawk, like for sure. So definitely attack that secondary. Let's see what they can really do as far as like just how they actually are, and just get some plays out of them. Challenge Lamar Jackson. Next thing we need to do, challenge Lamar Jackson with athleticism. So one of the things that I was kind of doing when kind of looking up like some of the newer Texans, I saw the game, I think Football 101 or whatever, over a die. And so I don't know, I can't remember his first name, but yeah. So yeah, I saw it over. Yeah, I saw it over a die, and it was talking about just like how he was one of the main factors in containing Lamar Jackson in last season's playoff game, and with the between the Chargers and the Ravens, and so I definitely think that Bill O'Brien needs to pull that card, or Romeo Crennel needs to pull that card and put him in the mix as far as like containing Jackson. Because like I said, this guy's a killer, man. Like he's been showing up. He's been earning like the conversation of MVP because of what he can do. It's like when you see him run that option and he actually keeps the ball, he can go on like a 1st and 10. He'll go like a good 8 yards or so. And so if that was a running back, like that would be eating away at the clock. So we definitely need to put a die in there as far as like just knowing how to contain him, and just making him just kind of stay in the pocket and forcing him to throw. Zach Cunningham, also a good player. I feel like Zach Cunningham, he's more, he comes in on most plays, and I think he serves more as an athletic type of linebacker that we have, just in case we have to cover like screens or flat routes or anything like that. That's what I feel, and so I think he should definitely kind of serve as like a spy role for Jackson. So any anywhere that Jackson feel like he wants to run or wherever like that. Just kind of make sure that we're watching that and just make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. I mean, we get 2 or 3 yards out of Jackson, whatever, that's fine. Like, he's fast as hell. So, that's probably a win compared to like if we give up like 8 or 10 yards for every down and distance that he hikes the ball. So, definitely Zach Cunningham and the die, they're definitely going to be two. They're definitely going to be two important factors as far as like stopping Lamar Jackson. Last thing Texans need to do is control the clock big time. So it sounds crazy to just think like, control the clock against, a guy whose main attack is like running the football. But I mean, when you think about it, I mean, running the football, that takes a lot of time off the clock. So, if that's their strong suit and they're not really like just throwing it down the field and running the score, that can be just as dangerous, in terms of like just wearing your defense out. So do not give the Ravens back the ball so they can implement their running game, late in the game or anything like that. Because, running attack will definitely play keep away. And, they're not afraid to use like different formations, obviously. There was a picture going around where, they were lining up. They had the one formation where RG3, Mark Ingram, and Jackson were like lined up in the backfield. So with that, you never know like what they're gonna do to like just actually what they're going to do, what links they're going to go to actually just run the ball and just, kind of chip away at the clock or just destroy your or just wear your defense down. So definitely is something that they need to focus on. Just keeping the ball away from the Ravens and just kind of controlling the clock. Also, one bonus thing that I'm gonna drop on y'all, and I'm gonna go right after this, I promise. But one more thing, and I was just kind of thinking about this. I was like, probably the best way to win this game, since we are talking about the quarterbacks matchups, is gonna be, just sticking with their style of play. Um, with Watson, I mentioned like, he's more uh, pass first, then mobile type of quarterback, obviously. Jackson, he can throw the ball as well, but, he's also, his main strength is, just kind of running the ball. So I would say if whatever quarterback can stick to their own philosophy, whatever coach can allow their quarterback to stick to their own philosophy um, throughout the game, it's gonna be like that's who's gonna win the game pretty much. So I mean, if Watson can stick with the passing and maybe a little bit of mobility here and there, I definitely think he's gonna win this game. He's gonna win this matchup. If they can force Jackson to like kind of throw the ball a little bit. If the defense can force Lamar Jackson to throw the ball more than he wants to, I definitely think that Texans are going to win. I don't. He's still kind of, to me, he's still kind of learning to throw the ball. Like all I've seen him throw to is like pretty much just tight ends. And I know he has like Hollywood Brown, over there, but I mean, I think Hollywood just came back from from an injury or whatever. And they also had Willie Snead, but I mean, hell, they didn't really do too much with either of them in that game against the Patriots. And so, I mean, in that game, they still scored 37 points. So, so most of the balls that they threw was like pretty much going to the tight end. So I would say if the Texans can just keep Watson to sticking to his game, they'll definitely pull out this win. But that's all I got for this week, man. So yeah, um, Texans got to win this game. If they want to win this game, all they got to do is attack the secondary, challenge Lamar Jackson with athleticism by using a die and also, Zach Cunningham, and, control the clock and also making sure that Watson is able to stick to his own game, and they shouldn't have no problems with winning this game. So, with that being said, I'm Brandon Simmons for brandonsimmons.biz. Holla black.